All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another fun-filled edition of Geekdom QNA. Love doing these. I have a lot of free time right now, so I can do them. Hopefully, I'll be able to keep up the pace here as long as questions come in, and we do have some good questions. Now, of course, like I always say, subscribe to the channel, spread the word on all the Dragon Ball communities. Got a new episode of Dragon Ball In Depth up right now where we analyze the SSJ forms in detail. I didn't go into super explicit detail talking about everything because I assume most people who are reading and watching, who are watching these videos in this channel kind of already know the basics. But I thought it was a fun kind of look at the original forms, and I'm working on the part 2 of that where we're going to talk about SSJ 3 and 4, God, Super God, whatever, etc., etc. So look forward to that in the near future. Those are actually a lot more challenging to edit than the rest of the videos. Most of the videos that I do on here, I just talk and then put a picture in the background. Not trying to come off lazy, but those are easier to do. The in-depth ones actually require a lot of work, some research, and they also require much more editing because those are kind of like my babies. I want those to kind of be like my legacy, if that makes any sense. So I pulled these questions from the previous Geekdom QNA YouTube page or YouTube video in the comment section. So we got a few questions here I'm going to knock out that I picked from there. If I did not get to your question, I apologize. There's just too many of them. What I might do in the future is I might do like an Ask FM or whatever. What was the name of that one? There was that one web page where you could ask questions before Ask FM. I don't remember what the hell it was called, but I know that a couple of my friends had one, and of course, people trolled excessively on those, asking questions and shit. Some of them were kind of funny, some of them weren't, but maybe I'll do something like that. We'll see. We'll see. In fact, I probably will, to be honest. That way I can keep this stuff more organized. So, let's get to some of these questions here. Some good Dragon Ball discussion. Justin Greer has 5 questions. So let's get to these questions here one at a time, knock them out. Actually, he has 6 questions. Well, actually, see, I copied it into a notepad, but I may have fucked up on how I copied it. But because there's another question right after it, but I don't think I put the person's name. I think Saiyan Baller actually asked this next one. But let's do Justin's 5 questions first. Number 1, can and will Beerus be surpassed by Goku or Vegeta? In the new film, spoilers by the way, folks, Fakatsu no F, Goku and Vegeta achieve what's now, I guess, being called Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan God SS. I guess they're gonna call it Super Saiyan. I'm guessing in the dub it's gonna be Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of like the name because it's wacky. Like it puts a smile on my face because it's redundant. But I'm not gonna be that fan who's like, oh. It's very Toriyama in a good way. That kind of stuff. The lack of a plot, those kind of things bother me more than just wacky names because Toriyama has been using wacky names forever, including before he even wrote Dragon Ball. So I have no problem with that name. But anyways, in the movie, Goku and Vegeta do achieve this form. We are unsure as to whether or not this power-up actually put them beyond Beerus because we've only seen Beerus fight at 70%, and even then he had his way with Goku. So we can assume that. See, I don't know. We don't know whether or not they surpass Beerus. But can they surpass him? I would say yes, only because their their race, bro. They just get stronger and stronger every time they fight. There doesn't appear to be any limits with these guys, which is good, but maybe kind of bad depending on how you like your Dragon Ball, how you like your stories. Can they? I say yes. Have they? Maybe in the next movie. Who knows? The question number 2, Beerus is awesome, and I believe his power are chaos-based, since chaos means destruction and is necessary to create new things. Do you agree? That's a good question. He's not very chaotic as a character. I don't agree fully. Like, I get what you're saying, but in the appearances that we've seen him in, which is Battle of Gods, and of course the synopsis for Fakatsu no F, he doesn't do shit in the Frieza movie, but in Battle of Gods, he does seem very, he's a little chaotic, especially when he's hungry. So there's something to what you're saying, but I don't think that chaos is necessarily like his theme. And obviously, you know, confusion and chaos kind of go together, and I don't think he's a very confusing character. Because if he was chaotic, he would have probably just blown up the earth once the minute that he freaking didn't get the pudding. And as you guys remember, in the movie, the big joke was that he blew up a little bit of the earth, and then he told them, I'm out of power, which was a lie. That was a lie. The reality was he had so much respect for Goku, and Goku gave him such a good fight and showed him so much spirit that he spared them, but he kind of winked at them saying, oh, well, I blew up a little bit of the earth, so I kept my word, you know, which made him a very likable character. Next question, number 3, Justin Greer says, what do you believe the amplifier for Super Saiyan God is? I don't know if you can, and I think you're probably thinking multiplier. I don't know if you can even use that because... But then again, with Frieza now and Golden Frieza, maybe I suppose you can. I always thought... Now, let's forget about the Frieza movie for a second. I always thought that one of the things that they said that they tried to make clear in Battle of Gods was that God Ki was different than regular Ki. Hence why all of the non-God characters could not sense Ki, the God Ki. And it's kind of weird in that sense because I don't remember, like... Did Goku ever have issues sensing like Kaio? Like I don't remember that. I don't think he did. But and he's supposed to be a god. But I always thought that God Ki was just at a different level to the point where, like, you know, it's like your 5 senses. You know how sometimes animals can, you know, dogs can like hear things and smell things that we can't because our senses are at different vibrational levels. That's a whole other topic right there, yo. I'm getting into, but. It just seems like the God power cannot be sensed. So, but anyways, what's the amplifier? I don't know, bro. That's a lot. It's probably a lot, all right? Because if Goku went from just getting flicked around, and not just Goku, you gotta keep in mind, it was Goku, it was Boo, it was Gohan, you know, before he got lazy, I guess. All the characters got tossed around like that, and then when he achieved the form, he was able to at least put up a fight. Then that tells me the God amplification is pretty high. But I can't even give you a number. I like to do a lot of these videos based on more facts than anything. So if I just sat here and said, "Oh, it's times 50," I'm just making shit up, and I don't want to do that because that's just not my style. I'll do speculation. I could say maybe it's times whatever, but that's not really something I think about, so I can't really give you an answer. Just a lot is my answer. Number 4, is it a good thing that Goku and Vegeta are becoming equals? A lot of Vegeta fans are going to say yes to that. And really, I'm going to say yes too, because the Vegeta character arc, what happens to his character, because when you really think about it, Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball, let's just take the Dragon Ball Z from Radix to Buu. Dragon Ball Z is Goku and Gohan's story, but it's also Vegeta's story in many ways as far as a character goes. Because if you watch Dragon Ball Z start to finish and you really focus on Vegeta, you'll notice that Vegeta is the one that has the most changes of any other character. I mean, he literally starts from being this lonely space pirate with his buddy, ruthlessly killing people and going around just doing whatever the fuck they want, to getting killed, to having a wife. Well, I don't know if Bulma's actually married. I think I got that question somewhere else. But he hooked up with Bulma. He had a kid. He sacrificed his life for the kid and then eventually saved the world. So, of all the characters in Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo was the first one to get the turn, but Vegeta's the one that I feel really had the best story arc and the most changes. So, since that's done, since Vegeta has now really become one of the Z fighters officially, especially with the last 2 movies, yes, they should be even. I've always felt they should be even. Especially after Boo. Once he admitted that Goku was better than him, but he also wanted to equal out with Goku, then really, what more can you do? That's at that point, make them equal. Number 5, do you think we'll ever meet the original Super Saiyan God? I think so. I think Naho Oshii or one of these people is going to do something about that. Maybe either in Dragon Ball Heroes or in a... I don't think Toriyama's going to do it. Toriyama never does that kind of stuff where he goes back like that. Dragon Ball Minus and Jocko is the closest we're going to get to it. So I think somebody else is going to do it. And I think it's going to be one of those take it or leave it stories. I don't really see why it's that important, though, to be honest with you, sir, because it's just kind of his story was already kind of told by the dragon. I don't know what else really needs to be told. Maybe if you want to see a picture of him, I can see it, but I don't personally see a need for them to actually make a movie based on those events, because we know the story. It's a very simple story. So that's it. Now, the other question, which I think was from Saiyan Baller, hey, man, you got to talk about the video games and give your honest opinion, your honest thoughts about the ones that have come out recently and comparing those to the classic ones. I want to hear your opinion towards that. When you say classic, I don't know if you're talking about the Budokai ones or if you're talking about going all the way back to, like, Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball on Nintendo, because... to be completely honest, and a lot of Dragon Ball fans are going to hate me for this, but this is how I honestly feel. Those old Nintendo games are almost freaking unplayable. The old Dragon Ball games were really, really bad. Like the ones where you play with the cards and then you flip a card and a guy doesn't attack. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. This is old Nintendo. Maybe you guys have ROMs. I'm sure some of you guys play these on ROMs. I know I did because they're impossible to find here. The RPG ones are kind of cool, but... the regular ones are just goddamn impossible. And then I remember having the PS1 ones when I was in high school bootlegged. And I'm talking about Ultimate Battle 22, Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, and what was the other one? Legends. I like Legends, but Ultimate Battle 22 just fucking sucks. And it looks good, but it's just goddamn boring. And then Dragon Ball Final Bout was absolutely horrible. Like, I think a lot of us when we were younger... we kind of got tricked into liking those games because we love Dragon Ball so much. You know how sometimes when you love something, I know some of y'all are going to know what I'm talking about. You love something, so you kind of have issues facing the fact that it kind of sucks. Because back then, that's all we had, bro. It was the only Dragon Ball game. Dragon Ball Final Bout was the only game that we had back then because it actually got a North American release. Very hard to find, though. Very rare. And I just remember... that game, I don't like fucking playing games where I push a button and I gotta wait 3 seconds before I gotta do a kick. Like, the controls in that game were so fucking bad. And I just remember people were loving that game. And then as we got older, I realized at first, and a couple of my other friends later on said I was right, that fucking game sucks, yo. That game sucks. So Legends was good, though. And then out comes the Budokai games and the Legacy of Goku games. Legacy of Goku games were kind of cool. They were kind of a throwback. They were fun. The Budokai games, 1 was okay. 2 was a great game. Budokai 2 and Budokai 3, I would say they're probably my favorites. I would say, even though, to be totally honest, Xenoverse is probably the best Dragon Ball game ever, I would think. That's my opinion. I can't think of one that's better than that. Xenoverse, the newest one. Battle of Z had a lot of potential, but Battle of Z had 2 things going against it. Number 1, the internet network playability was absolutely unplayable. There was too much lag. That killed the game, y'all. That killed the game. I remember that game was on sale for like $15. Like a month ago, I think. And that's a game that just came out a year ago. So think about that. Like that, they killed that fucking game dead. When you play online, you can't even and that's with 4 people. I think they promised 12. And then the other problem was that was not a fighting game. That game was a so there's another kind of game that they're not popular here. They're bigger in Japan with the Gundam series. They're basically these team match games where it's not a fighting game per se. You do team battles and everybody has a job. So it's kind of like a mixture between like a fighting game and like an RPG, right? Like a Final Fantasy like online RPG. So there's a I don't know what check out freaking Lord Moonstone. Go to YouTube, look up Lord Moonstone. He talks about this way better than me because he knows about these kind of games. Anyways, that's what kind of ruined it. To me, my favorites, just to wrap up the question, Xenoverse is great. Burst Limit was awesome. I love Burst Limit. All the other ones kind of start to blend in too much. Budokai Tenkaichi was all right, but it really lost its replay value after a while, if you ask me. I like the fact they have a million characters, but it's like, they're all the same shit, so it was kind of whatever. I love Dragon Ball Revenge of King Piccolo on the Wii. It's a very good game, a little challenging, perfect throwback to the Dragon Ball series. It ends in the Piccolo saga, and I love it because it's not the same old shit. All these games are Radix the Boo, Radix the Boo, Radix the Boo. That one you played through Dragon Ball, and that's a part of the series that gets forgotten about way too much. So I love that. I'm trying to think of the other. Oh yeah, I love Supersonic Warriors on the DS. I think it was DS or Advanced. Supersonic Warriors 2. That's a great game, yo. That was a fun game. So those are some of my favorites. I think Budokai 3 and Budokai 2, I always mix and match them because Budokai 2 has some cool shit too that 3 doesn't have, vice versa. Those were good. Super Dragon Ball Z. That's another one that I totally love that does not get enough love. So yeah, I mean, who knows? That's more of a video I have to do separately for that. Dayton Aldridge. Dayton Aldridge. What was your favorite DBZ moment? There's so many of them, but my number one without question was Gohan transforming into SSJ2, the Japanese version. I could not tell you how absolutely disgusted I was when I saw that episode on Toonami. They literally took everything that made that moment special and they ruined it. It's not even about the song, even though the song is awesome. The talking and the dumbing it down, they completely ruined that scene. The original Japanese version of that scene is the best. Some other scenes that come to mind, a lot of them are transformations, but the way they do them was great. Trunks and Frieza, when Trunks first shows off that Goku's not the only Super Saiyan, you're looking at another one right here. Amazing, yo. Piccolo sacrificing himself for Gohan. Gohan bouncing back the Genki Dama. Love that moment. Vegeta sacrificing himself was an incredible moment too against Buu. Vegeta when Frieza kills him and he has that speech, another great moment. Goku's speech to Frieza on Namek and his transformation, of course. And also, I really like when Goku first arrives on Namek. You know, they have the slow, dun dun dun, dun dun dun, dun dun dun, and you see like the door open, and then he walks out. What an alpha, yo! Like that's some of Goku's best shit right there. And he's just looking, and he senses Ginyu, and he senses Frieza, and he's like, "Gohan, don't die!" Whoosh, like Kaioken. I'm just man, bro. If I wanted to be him right there, yo. Like that's when you love a character, you want to be him, and then he goes in there and just fucking knocks out Raccoon with one elbow. Amazing, yo. That's the stuff I love about this show. All right. Alec Toledo, and what are your feelings on Beerus? And I think it makes perfect sense for him not to be evil, just a little antagonistic. I think there's a first question here, but I may have missed it. So I apologize, Alec, for that. Because like I said, I just put these together as quickly as I could to get this video out. And I may have missed. I mean, there's probably a lot of questions in there I missed, but I'm doing my best here. I like to talk a lot, and I try to answer every question as best I can, but it makes these videos long as fuck. So I mean, honestly. All right. So my feelings on Beerus. I love Beerus, and I agree. Excuse me, my voice cracked. I agree. It makes perfect sense for him not to be evil. The thing about Beerus and Whis is that they're kind of like Goku in that. They're both kind of obsessed with food, and Beerus just wants a challenge. He just wants to fight, and that's kind of how Goku is. So the character is, very similar. He break dances at the party, and a lot of people thought that maybe he wasn't as big of a threat, but I thought that Battle of Gods perfectly, encompassed Dragon Ball and everything that it's about. With Fakatsu no F, though, with it being Frieza, I expected a totally different kind of movie in that I thought Frieza was going to be a much more serious, because he is evil. He is a dick. And we don't want Frieza. I remember I read on the internet, some fans were saying that Frieza should be good. Like, I remember somebody said, oh, he's going to turn good. Nobody wants to see that, bro, except you. Like, Frieza is so fucking evil. And he is the most evil character in the series. I mean, Boo was just pure evil, and that's one thing. But Frieza did it for fun. He was very vindictive. He was very, very selfish. He was a racist. He was and it was all because he liked it. Like, he enjoyed destroying lives and being in control, and just the personification of evil. He should never, ever be good. Whereas Beerus was just a guy who has a job that requires destroying things, and he has to do it. I don't know if he really likes doing it as much as some people think, but it's pretty cool to have all that power. It's just, power is nothing without pudding, I guess. Colonel Stars and Stripes, last question for this video. What are your thoughts on Goku getting a Zenkai Boost after his battle with Frieza? He was close to death at one point, right? He should increase a bit in power, or did the Senzu Bean stop that from happening? I'm thinking you're talking about Fakatsu no F, and not his first fight. Because we do know that, from what Goku says, when he hopped in the Ginyu ship and the ship took off before Namek blew up, he passed out. So obviously when he woke back up again on Yardrat or whatever, he had a little bit of a power boost, because all the, that whole race gets it. But I'm guessing you're talking about Fakatsu no F. And yes, he has to get a Zenkai Boost because he took a shot to the heart or whatever, or to the chest, and he got a Senzu. And the whole thing with these people is that they get shot or they get hurt, they get healed, whether it be with a Senzu, whether it be through a rejuvenation tank, whether it be through Dende, whatever. Take your pick. Dragon Balls, doesn't matter. And then they become more powerful afterward. So I do think that the shot to the chest and then Frieza kicking him in the chest over and over again, yes, I do think he was close to death, and he did get an increase in power. So, but are we going to see that increase in power? Maybe we will. Maybe that increase in power is what he tapped into when he killed Frieza at the end of the movie with the Super Kamehameha. So, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he did. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Geekdom QNA. Thanks again, everybody. Subscribe, spread the word, and comment below as always. Hope everybody has a good one. See you next time.